My name is Serena. I'm 41 years old, and for 14 years I believed I was living a perfect life with my perfect husband. His name is Ryan. He is 46 years old, and when I met him, I thought he was everything I had ever dreamed of. I was 27 when we first met at a mutual friend's gathering. Ryan was so handsome, so charming, and he had this way of making me feel like I was the only woman in the world. Every moment with him felt magical and special. After only 6 months of dating, Ryan asked me to marry him. I remember that evening so clearly. We were having dinner at a small restaurant, and suddenly he took my hand in his, looked deep into my eyes, and asked me to be his wife forever. I was shocked but overjoyed. My heart was beating so fast I could barely breathe. I said yes immediately without any hesitation. He gave me a beautiful gold ring that sparkled in the light. He promised me we would be together forever. He promised me a happy future filled with love and children and a beautiful home. I believed every single word he said. Why wouldn't I? He seemed so sincere, so loving, so completely devoted to me. We got married in a small ceremony with our closest friends and family. I wore a simple white dress, and Ryan looked so handsome in his suit. When we exchanged our vows, I felt like the luckiest woman alive. This was the beginning of my forever, or so I thought. After the wedding, we moved into a small apartment together. It wasn't fancy, but it was ours, and I loved it. I worked in an office doing administrative work, while Ryan worked in sales. His job required him to travel frequently for business trips. Sometimes he would be gone for days at a time, but he always came home to me. He would call me every night when he was away and tell me how much he missed me. I never doubted him. I never questioned where he was or what he was doing. Our life together was simple, but I thought it was perfect. We would spend our evenings talking about our future. We talked about having children one day. We talked about buying a bigger house in a nice neighborhood. We talked about growing old together. I trusted Ryan completely. I thought he was the perfect husband and I was the perfect wife. But I had no idea that my entire perfect life was built on lies. I had no idea that the man I called my husband was living a double life. I had no idea that I was not the only woman who thought she was married to Ryan Parker. One ordinary afternoon, everything changed. I was in the kitchen doing the dishes after lunch. The sun was streaming through the window, and I was thinking about what to make for dinner. I moved a stack of papers on the counter to wipe underneath them, and that's when I saw it. A white envelope that I had never seen before. I picked it up and looked at the name on the front. It was not addressed to me. It was not addressed to Ryan. The name on the envelope said Mrs. Lisa Parker. I froze. My hands stopped moving. Who was Lisa Parker? I had never heard this name before in my entire life. My heart began to beat faster and faster. I looked at the return address on the envelope. It was from a bank in a different part of the city, but the delivery address was different from our apartment. Why would a letter for someone named Lisa Parker come to our home? It made no sense. I put the letter down on the kitchen table, but I could not stop thinking about it. The name kept repeating in my mind. Lisa Parker, Lisa Parker. Who was she? Ryan would be home from work soon. I decided I would wait for him and ask him about the letter. Maybe he would have a simple explanation. Maybe it really was just a mistake, like mail being delivered to the wrong address. That happens sometimes. I tried to convince myself it was nothing important. After what felt like hours, I finally heard Ryan's keys in the lock. The front door opened, and he walked into the kitchen with that same warm smile he always had after work. "Hello, my love," he said cheerfully as he set down his briefcase. He looked at me and I could see he was in a good mood, but I knew I had to ask him about the letter. I picked up the envelope from the table and held it to him. "Ryan," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "who is Lisa Parker? This letter came to our house today. It's addressed to her." Ryan looked at the letter in my hand. I watched his face carefully, looking for any sign of surprise or worry or guilt, but his expression did not change at all. He did not look surprised. He did not look worried. He simply took the envelope from my hand and looked at the name printed on the front. Then he smiled, that same charming smile. "Oh, that," he said dismissively. "It's nothing, Serena. Don't worry about it. It's just a mistake. The bank probably sent it to the wrong address. These things happen all the time." He put the letter down on the counter as if it was completely unimportant. Then he quickly changed the subject and started talking about his day at work. He did not seem to think it was strange at all that this letter for a woman named Lisa Parker had arrived at our home. He acted like it was the most normal thing in the world. But something felt wrong to me. His explanation seemed too easy, too quick, too dismissive. Ryan said it was just a mistake, but I could not forget the name, Lisa Parker. It kept echoing in my mind that night as we ate dinner together. It kept echoing as we watched television. It kept echoing as we got ready for bed. I could not let it go. That evening, after Ryan had fallen asleep, I sat alone in the living room. The apartment was quiet and dark, except for the glow of my phone screen. I knew I had to find out who Lisa Parker was. I knew I had to know the truth. So I opened the search browser on my phone and typed in the name, Lisa Parker. The search results loaded slowly. First, there were some social media profiles. I scrolled through them, looking at the pictures. Then suddenly, my eyes stopped on one particular image, and my whole world shattered in an instant. It was a wedding photo. In the photograph, a beautiful woman in a white wedding dress stood next to a man in a suit. They were smiling at the camera, looking completely happy and in love. The woman was Lisa Parker, and the man standing next to her was Ryan, my husband, the man I had been married to for 14 years. I could not believe what I was seeing. My hands started shaking as I looked at more photos. There were pictures of Ryan and Lisa cutting their wedding cake together, pictures of them dancing together, pictures of them kissing. And then I saw the date on the photos, 16 years ago. 16 years ago, Ryan had married Lisa Parker. I felt like I could not breathe. I felt like the room was spinning around me. My mind was racing, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. We had been married for 14 years. Ryan and I got married 14 years ago. But if Ryan married Lisa Parker 16 years ago, that meant he was already married when he met me. He was already married to Lisa when he proposed to me. He was already married to Lisa when he stood at the altar and promised to love me forever. Everything about my life was a lie. My perfect marriage was a lie. My loving husband was a lie. Ryan had promised me forever, but he had already promised forever to someone else. He had been living two separate lives for all these years. He had kept this enormous, terrible secret from me for 14 years. How was this possible? How could someone do this? How could Ryan look me in the eyes every single day and lie to me? How could he sleep next to me at night knowing he had another wife somewhere else? I felt sick. I felt betrayed. I felt like my entire world had been turned upside down. But I needed to know more. I needed to know if my marriage to Ryan was even real. I needed to know the legal truth. So the next morning, after Ryan left for work, I got dressed and went to the city office where they keep all the marriage records. I found the department for marriage certificates and walked up to the counter. There was a middle-aged woman sitting there. "Hello," I said to her, trying to keep my voice from shaking. "I need to check a marriage record, please, for Serena Watson and Ryan Parker." The woman nodded and turned to her computer. She typed on her keyboard and searched through the database. Then she pulled out some old physical files and searched through those as well. I stood there waiting, feeling my heart pounding in my chest. Finally, the woman looked up at me, and I could see sadness in her eyes. "I am so sorry," she said gently. "There is no legal marriage record for Serena Watson and Ryan Parker in our files. We have no record of that marriage at all." I froze. I could not move. I could not speak. My heart broke into a million pieces right there at that counter. No legal marriage. That meant I was not Ryan's wife. I had never been Ryan's wife. The wedding ceremony, the gold ring he gave me, the vows we exchanged, all of it was fake. All of it was a lie. For 14 years, I had lived as Ryan's wife, but legally, I was nothing to him. I was just his secret. I was the other woman. I was the one he was cheating with. 14 years of my life had been based on a complete lie. I felt like I was losing my mind. I somehow managed to thank the woman at the counter. Then I turned and walked out of that office in a complete daze. I got into my car and just sat there for a long time, trying to process everything. Ryan had another wife, a real wife, a legal wife, and that wife was Lisa Parker. I knew what I had to do next. I had to find Lisa. I had to talk to her. I had to know if she knew about me. So I used the information I had found online to locate Lisa's house. It turned out she lived not very far from my apartment, maybe a 15-minute drive. I stood outside her house for several minutes gathering my courage. This was going to be one of the hardest conversations of my life. Finally, I walked up to her front door and raised my hand. I knocked 3 times and waited. After a few seconds, the door opened, and there she was, Lisa Parker, the woman from the wedding photos. She looked older now, of course, but I recognized her face immediately. She looked at me, and I looked at her. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then I said, "Hello, my name is Serena. I think we are both married to the same man. His name is Ryan Parker." I expected Lisa to be shocked. I expected her to be confused or angry or to slam the door in my face. But she did not look surprised at all. She just looked sad and tired. That was when I knew she already knew something was wrong. She already suspected something. "Please come in," Lisa said quietly as she opened the door wider. I followed her inside to her living room. We sat down on her sofa facing each other. Then Lisa began to speak, and she told me everything. She said she knew about me. She knew that Ryan had another life with another woman. Ryan had told her about me, but he had promised Lisa that he would end things with me. He told her he would get a divorce from me and come back to her completely. He said he would leave me very soon. He had been saying this to Lisa for years, and she believed him because she loved him. Lisa said Ryan would often come home very late at night. He would tell her he was working late at the office or meeting with clients, but now she knew he was actually with me. He was living with me. He was sleeping with me, all while telling Lisa he loved her only. Lisa felt sad and angry and betrayed just like I did. I listened to her story and I felt sad for her too. I was angry at Ryan. He had hurt 2 women. He had lied to 2 women. He had destroyed 2 lives with his selfishness and his lies. That was when I decided I could not keep his secret anymore. I decided it was time for everyone to know the truth about Ryan Parker and his double life. I needed to expose him. I needed him to face consequences for what he had done. I thought about Ryan's job. I knew who his boss was because Ryan had mentioned him many times, so I went home and sat down at my computer. I wrote a detailed email to Ryan's boss explaining everything. I told him about Ryan's 2 marriages. I told him about the lies Ryan had been living for many years. I explained how Ryan had deceived me and Lisa. Then I hit send. I also called Ryan's mother on the phone. I told her the truth about her son. I told her that Ryan had 2 wives and had been lying to everyone for over a decade. Ryan's mother began to cry on the phone. She could not believe what I was telling her. She said her son could never do something like this. But I told her it was all true and I had proof. Soon after that, Ryan's boss fired him from his job. He lost his position at the company because of his lies and his deception. His mother was very upset and angry with him. His family was ashamed of him. Everything was falling apart for Ryan. A few days later, there was a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole and saw Ryan standing there. He looked terrible. His face was pale and sad. His eyes were red like he had been crying. He looked exhausted and defeated. He called my name through the door, begging me to let him in. I opened the door. Ryan immediately started speaking. He said he was so sorry for everything. He begged me to forgive him and take him back. He said he loved me and that I was the only one he truly cared about. The same lies, the same manipulation. But I did not believe his words anymore. I would never believe him again. "Go away, Ryan," I said firmly. "Go to your real wife. Go to Lisa. I am not your wife. I was never your wife. You made sure of that." Then I closed the door in his face and locked it. The days and weeks after Ryan left were very hard for me. I went to work every day, but my heart felt so heavy. I cried at my desk sometimes when I thought no one was looking. My coworkers could see I was sad. Most of them did not know what to say, so they just looked away and left me alone. But there was one person who was different. His name was Miller, and he worked in the same office as me. Miller was a kind and gentle man. He never pushed me to talk about what was wrong. He never gave me unwanted advice. He just let me know he was there if I needed someone. Sometimes I would talk to Miller about my feelings. I would talk about the betrayal and the lies and how hurt I felt. Miller would just listen quietly and let me speak. He never interrupted me. He never told me what I should do or how I should feel. He just listened with kindness and patience. I felt safe with Miller in a way I had never felt safe with Ryan. Miller was different from Ryan in every way. Ryan was handsome and charming, but he was dishonest and selfish. Miller was quiet and ordinary, but he was honest and kind. He never lied. He was a truly good man. Now, when I think about my life, I do not think about Ryan anymore. I do not miss him. I do not miss the lies or the fake marriage or the wasted years. I am free now. I am free to build a real life with real honesty and real love. Lisa is also free. She can move forward with her own life. I am ready for the future. I am ready to build something real with someone who truly cares for me, someone like Miller who sees me as I really am and values me. I am finally free, and I am finally truly happy.